Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Chris McQuarrie's Mission Impossible Rogue Nation in 2015. The final film in this set that I'll be reviewing, of course. And yes, Chris McQuarrie writes and directs this film, and of course, the same thing with Fallout, which I cannot wait to see, and I'll be seeing it, within the next few days. Thursday, Friday, that kind of thing. I'm not decided yet, and I cannot wait for that film. Now, in this film, of course, it came out in 2015, and along with Ghost Protocol, really, they're the most popular films. Certainly up until Fallout came about, because that really now is the most popular in terms of critically and audience and everything. And of course, once again, this was a smash at the box office, and again, critically acclaimed. These last three films have been the most acclaimed overall. And just there's this, this and Ghost Protocol, absolutely stunning. I think we'll spoil it now. We'll kind of, I think in many ways, up until this point, I've not seen Fallout. This is, the best Mission Impossible film. I think it's right up there with Ghost Protocol, and there's things I prefer about both. I think both though are flawless, and it's just really my preference is so close. It's unbelievable. I think this one, up until a point in the film, it very, very much, it could have been my favourite, and I'm still deciding whether or not. This film, is something else, and the first time I saw it, I didn't get the best of experiences. The cinema screening was shit. People just talking the whole time and all that sort of stuff. The usual, I don't know what happens now, nowadays. People just don't have any respect, but yeah, I didn't get a great experience, but I thought I'd rewatch it properly, of course, get the exact experience of what I want when I get it on Blu-ray. And I just kept thinking, oh, I'll wait until maybe I'll just rewatch it again before Fallout. And yeah, here we are. I've rewatched all of them and reviewed them. And yes, Tom Cruise is back. Pegg is back. Ving Rhames is in this film. He's back again properly. He made like a cameo in Ghost Protocol. Of course, Renner is back. These guys are back, and they're ready to play, and they play hard. This film is stunning, and Alec Baldwin, he is in this film. I love Alec Baldwin. He's usually great. Rebecca Ferguson is amazing in this film. One of the best characters, in a Mission Impossible film. Full stop. She is amazing, and it's just her character is written so well. And I just think, as well, the villain, Sean Harris plays the villain, and he is amazing in this film. Really one of the best villains in Mission Impossible. In terms of villains, a lot of people always say what the best villains in the franchise. I think Hoffman gives the best performance, but really, I'm not going to deny I didn't really enjoy his character as much as, the first one, which I won't ruin because I kind of give spoilers to who is the villain. And of course, as well, this one, because I just think that the actual way his character was written was a bit too one-sided, and I didn't care for the relationship in the third one, so I didn't care how he kind of kidnapped her and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just wasn't written anywhere near as well. If the writing matched the performance, maybe it could be, but definitely the best performance. But really, it's not the best villain. I think that the first villain, film in the first film. Villain in the first film and in this, they're the best villains that I've seen. Ghost Protocol wasn't really about that, which is not a flaw. It was many different people, villains, and it wasn't, a central villain as such. But yes, this film, the opening is probably the best opening to a Mission Impossible film. It is stunning, and just you see all the guys, there and everyone trying to, just help out. You see Simon Pegg and everyone there. And they're trying to infiltrate this plane, these kind of terrorists and stuff. And you don't see Tom Cruise for about a minute or so, and then he appears, and the music kicks in, and you're just like, yes, Tom Cruise is back, and just really amazing. When he comes over the hill, it's just epic, and then the plane scene is it's really epic. It really is just stunning. And of course, Tom Cruise always does his own stunts, which just improves everything. It's never worse off, you can say that, that's for sure. The way he does his own stunts is just amazing, and that was just so, so much adrenaline, and just the way it leads into the credits. Oh, it's just amazing. The humour as well. This just kind of sums up most of the film. Maybe until the final act, it's a bit different. And Simon Pegg is just even better in this film. He is even better, and the humour is just as good, if not better than Ghost Protocol. I think as well the fact you've got Ving Rhames as Luther back, and he's with Simon Pegg and Jeremy Renner, and of course Rebecca Ferguson. It's just amazing, just the kind of dynamics that play off between this ever-growing group, this team that they are now. It's just so compelling, so much fun. It was never much. There was never too much about that in the other ones before this. This and four. Although one, yes, but there was kind of a variety of different teams without ruining that film. Things happened, of course, and it wasn't a sole team throughout the film. Tom Cruise was on the run most of the film, and two was very, very different again as well. And three was again, he was kind of on his own a lot of the time. Yes, Luther was with him at times, but it wasn't quite the same. And of course, now it is. These ones are fully team based, really, and that's what I love. As well about these ones. It adds, just so much fun. The way they're all together as a team. It's really warm. This one is really it's got full of heart, and the action in this film throughout is epic. It is just masterfully crafted. Chris McQuarrie is just he really knows how to direct a film. Perfect direction from start to finish, and the writing as well. It's something to really be impressed by. The writing as well is absolutely stunning. All the plot in this film, it's again a bit more heavy than Ghost Protocol. If you but it's not anywhere as complex as the first. It is, and as well it's not quite as plot heavy. It's still got its massive set pieces, and it is more character driven once again. The plot is basically Tom Cruise at first, and also Ethan Hunt, and eventually everyone else. They're trying to take down the syndicate, reveal them, and basically this secret terrorist organisation. And I'm not going to get into too much because it really will ruin it. There's a lot of things, a lot of twists constantly throughout the film. But basically, Sean Harris is the main villain involved in that, and of course you've got the character of Elsa Faust, played wonderfully by Rebecca Ferguson. As I say, she's one of the best characters in the franchise, and she's kind of like a rogue. Yeah, she's kind of like a rogue sort of. She keeps kind of. You don't exactly know fully what she's about and all that sort of stuff. Very complex character. I'm not going to ruin too much, but very, very complex. But you kind of got this relationship going on between her and Ethan Hunt. And yeah, it is a romance for sure, and a very, very complex one. And she's got a massive involvement in the actual plot throughout the film, really, throughout all the film. And, it just gets better and better, really, what's involved with her. And she's just an amazing character as well. The fight scenes, they're just so epic, and it's just the way it's been choreographed and how visceral it is. The hand-to-hands are actually better than Ghost Protocol. I think actually overall the action is better as well. There's not quite as much action, and maybe there isn't quite a one that rivals the Burj Khalifa kind of sequence. But overall, throughout the film, I would say that the action is better. Therefore, the best up until this point, and it's got an amazing soundtrack, Nessun Dorma as well, the way that's used in different renditions, and kind of used as like a theme between, Rebecca Ferguson and Tom Cruise characters, and, I think that just the way that the music is used in this film is stunning. This film is operatic, it really is. Of course, the scene in the actual opera, that is one of the best scenes in the franchise for sure. It goes on for about 10 minutes. And you've got this in the background while Tom Cruise, of course, Rebecca Ferguson, and Simon Pegg are all involved in this kind of thing that goes on, which I won't ruin. And it's so good. There's such a variety there once again, and the way it escalates as the music goes on. That's what you can do to impress me. And certainly impress me because the way that, yeah, how operatic this film is just stunning. You know, the first 2/3 of this film, maybe up until the 1 hour 40 mark, is just, I think, definitely for me, yeah, it was the best that Mission Impossible has ever been, and consistently, I think, up to this point. You know, the final act, it's not flawed. You know, definitely not. It peters out a little bit. I didn't absolutely adore it as much as the previous ones. The rest of the film, it was only really until 1 hour 45 mark, which is, you know, roughly 20 minutes left of the film after that, that I just didn't quite. I wasn't quite whoa like compared to the rest of the film. But overall, I think that, you know, it's definitely a contender for my favourite. I think that the plot is so compelling, probably the most interesting plot of all of them, and you know, the way that the stakes are raised so high, and you know, I just think that the action, you know, in the middle of the film, it's just the best that's ever been, and you know, the way that the comedy is used in this film once again, it's all the right moments. The tone is so good. But the comedy, you know, with Luther, Jeremy Renner as well as character, you know, Brandt, Simon Pegg's character, you know, all these guys. Well, the way the comedy is within the action sequences, just wow, and the action itself, as I say, is really just something else. Mind blown action, you know, and it's very very varied. You know, you've got all different types of action, hand to hands, which are just perfect. You know, and the car chases, the motorbike chase is just one of the best action scenes of the century, actually, for me. It's that good. I think Tom Cruise is once again, just as long with Ghost Protocol, you know, at his best he's been in the franchise. Not at his best overall, you know, as an actor, but he's really just on fire here. I think the performances are, you know, just as good, if not better, overall than the Ghost Protocol, and just, you know, you've got a perfect villain really to match, and the way that he kind of masterminds everything throughout the film, and he's always on their case kind of thing, and you know, it's just just the way that the double crosses are done. They're never overdone. You know, the face swapping and all that is not overdone, and it's just when it does happen, it's just amazing. Really, just epic stuff here. You know, the tension in this film as well. You know, the underwater scene. They done an underwater scene and they made it a masterpiece of a scene. It's hard to do. You know, it really is. For me, anyway, I find it hard to find a film where that actually, you know, is pulled off in that way. You know, as I've said before in many of my reviews, especially, you know, Thunderball of James Bond, it's very hard to pull off an underwater scene and make it tense, because it really just is. A lot of the time it doesn't work for me in cinema too well. There are exceptions, of course, Jaws and everything like that. But yeah, no, I think that the underwater scene was absolutely masterful. It was so tense, it was so creative and just so clever. And, you know, just very, very hit, you know, it was just so hit and miss, you know, when Tom Cruise nearly, you know, didn't make it and stuff like that. It was just amazing. And the way that you see, obviously, of course, trademark where they plan out the missions and stuff. That is so good, you know, to kind of build up the tension and everything and the anticipation. And then, you know, when it does happen, it's just even more rewarding in that sense. And just everything in this film. The editing is masterful. As I've said, the direction is just something else. There's no doubt that the direction in this is masterful. I really cannot wait for Fallout. Because if it is better than, you know, if it is the best Mission Impossible film, that will be something. You know, maybe I don't know if I'll prefer it to this and 4. But you know, I'm not going to rule that out for sure. From what I've heard, you know, it's one of the best action films ever made, really. Certainly of the century. Then, you know, I cannot wait for the film. But Rogue Nation is an easy masterpiece, and once again, it gets into my plus tiers. You know, it's not just 100%. It's into my plus tiers, and you know, I gave Ghost Protocol a tier 2, and this is no exception. You know, considering the fact I said it's on the level, it's 100% plus tier 2. Really is an absolutely stunning film, mind-blowing masterpiece. You know, something really special, and the way that they're able to keep up the consistency, you know, to kind of almost top 4, if not top it, was something to really, you know, even the first one, you know, to live up to that and top it. which I think this one does. It's just something else, you know, especially, you know, when how good one was. You know, that was a stunning film, really flawless, really. And 4 and 5, I think, are better. And you know, I just cannot wait for 6. But you know, this film, as I said, overall, it is just perfection, really. It's such a such clever writing in this film, and the direction is just perfect. Cinematography, I think, at times it's really the best in the franchise. Other times, I think Ghost Protocol would beat it. You know, but it's just stunning. The locations as well. It's just also fun, and you know, at times exotic, and at other times it's very, very gritty, and you know, very neon and stuff. And just that sequence, you know, the opera sequence, wow! And then they kind of topped that with all the chase scenes in the middle of the film, and then you've got, of course, the water sequence. It's just, there's so many masterful sequences in this film, but as well the plot is just perfectly told. You know, unfolds. The storytelling is masterful. You know, visually and everything else. The editing is just on top form. You know, Chris McQuarrie, wow, he is something else with this film, and all the performances, top notch. The newcomers are great. You know, Sean Harris, I've heard he's in Fallout as well, and of course Rebecca Ferguson is, and she is really just so good in this film. Cannot praise her higher than this, and the way that their kind of relationship played out was just so compelling. You know, perfect. I cannot believe how good this film is. You know, even better on a rewatch. And of course, I only seen it once before this in a crap screening at cinema. So, but yes, this really it does certainly live up to the best of the franchise, because I think it could be better than all of them. It could be the best. You know, I'm still deciding. You know, Alec Baldwin as well is just great, and really epic ending. You know, not the best Mission Impossible ending. Well, maybe be Ghost Protocol. But yeah, no, it's just something else. If you've not seen it, see it, because it's absolutely stunning. There's a reason why it's one of the most popular. So yeah, thanks for watching my review of Chris McQuarrie's Rogue Nation, and of course, next up with Mission Impossible will be Fallout. And I am more pumped than ever. And if it beats this film, if it beats 4, I cannot believe, you know. And I'll be reviewing that, of course, for sure this week. You know, I'm going to see it maybe Thursday, Friday. So a review will be done, you know, Saturday, end of Saturday latest. So yeah, I cannot wait for that. And this film was a masterpiece, and one of my favourite action films of all time. You know, it's on my top 30 of all time. So thanks for watching my review of Rogue Nation.